Hey everybody, welcome back. Thank you again for everyone who's joining us. I'm Tom Conway, C5, C6 Quad, and like Shawn said, we're talking about SCI awareness today and kind of some of the general stuff like we all go through every day. And uh, regular co-host on the podcast, pass it on over to Bobby.
Thanks a lot, Tom, man. As your second co-host here, Bobby Rohan, C5, C6 quadriplegic of 30 years plus, and just glad to know that we have a whole month of SCI awareness. Who would ever thought, back in the day, they would give us a whole month, but it's something needed, and glad we have it. And we have a special guest today, and so glad she could join us. And you want to introduce yourself, Brianna?
Of course, I'm so excited to join you guys too. My name is Brianna. I was shot 4.5 years ago, and I became a T12 L5 incomplete para. So yeah, it's been a crazy journey. The beginning was definitely hard, but I got to meet some amazing SCI friends and join this amazing community. So it's been rock star ever since.
And Brownie's a rock star in real life, actress, model, like out there in the community, Triumph ambassador, helping
Yeah.
out, other newly injured spinal cord individuals all the time. So Brianna is a rock star herself. So thank you so much for joining us today.
That's so cool. Yeah, that was my first time really posing in my wheelchair or seeing pictures of myself in a wheelchair, and it really boosted my confidence a lot and helped me just along my journey to show me that I'm still a person, and I can still take pictures and I can still be an actress and I can still be seen even though I'm inside a wheelchair because I felt invisible for so long. So to feel
Right.
that way, what feels amazing.
So you said you've been feeling visible for so long. I know a little bit about your story. You want to tell us a little bit about it, and why you were visible for so long, and what brought you out of your shell, and to the person that we know you now, so publicly and alive. It just seems like just yesterday I met you, and you were just like, I don't know anything, I don't know anyone, so here I am.
Yeah. I was so overwhelmed with life. I was so independent before my injury. And when I lost the use of my legs, I felt like I wasn't a person anymore. The simplest things I couldn't do by myself. And instead of fighting at that time because I didn't know, I became extremely depressed. I became more inside of my shell. I didn't know anybody in a wheelchair for 2 years. I had a huge hospital wheelchair that just made me feel bulky and ugly. I didn't know what clothes to wear. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know the possibilities. And it was through social media that I found the community and I started going out and I signed up for the Rolex Experience. And at the Rolex Experience is where I met Triumph. And Walter saw me in my big, huge wheelchair and was like, "Hey, what's up? Like, I got a smaller wheelchair for you." And that was like on Saturday that I met them. And on Monday, they gave me a new wheelchair.
So funny.
And
I remember that night.
yes, you were
Oh,
there.
I was there with Walter and Andrew. I remember Walter being like, "Hey, we'll get you that new chair on Monday." That's so great.
Yeah.
I
And
remember.
they were like talking with my mom and she was crying and we were like so overwhelmed because we that was the first time I'd been around wheelchairs in general and I was just overwhelmed, and I wanted help but I didn't know where to ask for help. I didn't know what to ask for and it was just Triumph was a blessing in my life. And after that I started going to the support groups and going to the events and just my life changed. My eyes opened, and it was like, yeah, some things suck, but it's like life sucks. We're all going through things, we got to get through this. And it just brought me back to reality. And it was like, I wasn't in a position where my family was just letting me complain about things, and I was talking to people who really understood me. And it was life changing, definitely.
It's hard for everybody.
Yeah. I think about that all the time when I'm going through things and I'm just like, I could have been still laying in bed. Like, I talk to people who lay in bed for years and let this injury take control of their lives because it's easy to do, and I'm just grateful that I got out of it, and I'm grateful that I fought. Definitely. It's hard to view yourself in a wheelchair, when you had all these hopes and dreams before.
And
Um,
the thing about it is too is like getting out into the community and meeting other individuals and shares. There's something very unique about seeing the possibilities, in front of you rather than like, a family member who's able-bodied, sitting there trying to tell you, or
yeah, my
that-
mind was blown when I started going to events.
and if anybody isn't familiar, the Rolex Experience is, the Rolex, it's a dance group, an organization of SCI women and other disabilities as well, if I'm correct.
Yes.
And they hold a experience every year. It's like a week long dance camp for ladies who are interested. So with COVID, obviously things might be a little like up in the air, but the Rolettes are still a thing. And
Yeah, they made it
out
virtual
there
this year.
who are like
So
interested, or anybody who's interested, maybe we can include that information because the Rolettes is a pretty special and amazing organization as well that does a lot. For
Yeah, I
yeah,
will.
there's about a couple more days to sign up for their virtual event because they're going virtual this year with the Rolex Experience, which is still cool because they're gonna have a bunch of panels of women in the community that they wouldn't have normally been able to fly out, and I think it's just gonna be a lot of information. So yeah, definitely.
So I will
I
add the
think
links. I didn't have the links in there yet, but I'll add the link for the Rolex Experience and the virtual Abilities Expo as well too for everybody.
awesome.
awesome.
Going back to when we brought you out of this shell, I think it definitely shows a person going to a small rehab versus a person going to a big rehab like Casa Colina, Northridge, Rancho here in Southern California, as well as in Denver, Colorado. A lot of people go to Craig. You went to a small rehab, and not many people around you, or if any, right? You came from.
Yes, I was in Arizona and I was the only SCI patient there. They had only older people that had fallen, and had minor injuries. And they didn't teach me a lot. I didn't know about pressure sores. I didn't know about different things. They didn't really push me to learn how to transfer by myself. I know that they like mentioned it, but they were like, you need to know this for when you're alone. And I was like, when am I going to be alone? I'm never going to be alone. I'm in a wheelchair now, that's the way I felt. But there was no like push, like Casa Colina and Rancho, like they're amazing, and they're amazing in rehab and they're amazing for the aftercare. And it's super cool that I think that we're right there to help these newly injured patients out right at the beginning because it does make a difference. I have seen it, and
It
that's
makes
why I
all the
dedicate.
difference in the
Definitely,
world.
definitely. And I only bring that up, and not to for you just not only to discuss it, but also to point out to our YouTube followers and those who are watching, if you think you went to one of those rehabs, reach out to a bigger rehab, find out what's going on, reach out to these nonprofits like triumphfoundation.org. If you reach out, you can get involved like Brianna did, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're off rolling, and next thing you know, you're like, wow, I can't believe I wasted how long? A year or two, I think it was.
Yeah. Yeah, it was two
Yeah,
years that I wasted. And I know also it does make you feel weak reaching out, and asking for help. But I've actually learned that it makes me strong to ask for help when I need it
that's
instead
great to
of,
hear.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah,
people need to hear about that for sure.
it's not always an
Yeah.
easy thing to do,
Yes.
especially like adjusting to like learning to ask for help for sure. I mean, that's always kind of, as I got older, something that I struggled with a lot was just gaining that confidence. I mean, because it really is a confidence thing to like be able to be vulnerable and to ask for somebody for help. And I mean, as a quad, it's just a part of everyday life, like
Yeah.
caregivers and like part of the routine. And I always had the greatest family in the world around me too, like supporting me a lot with assistance and help. But even then, like it wasn't always like super easy to ask a family member. Everybody gets tired, everybody gets frustrated. Like then like I spent a long time learning to do as much as I can on my own, like rediscover my independence. But I had a very different experience than you, like rehab wise. I was like out the gate into the best wheelchair, like into all the right equipment, like into PT, like for the first 4 or 5 years of my, injury and stuff. And I was like very well like introduced to the injury and then well maintained. But what you brought up is unfortunately something that happens to too many people as they go home in a big like hospital chair. It's too wide to even like fit through probably a normal door width.
Yeah.
They're living their house, their apartment, whatever it is. And, they don't get taught how to cath. They don't get taught how to or even that they can self cath. That they can even possibly maybe transfer independently and stuff because initially you feel so disabled, right? It's not
Yeah.
until 6 months, a year out until you start to recover and experience and do things. But you can really see that you can do a lot of that stuff yourself. And without being told at the beginning, there's really no way to know. So thank you for sharing how you discovered Triumph and the importance of advocating for yourself and knowing that everybody is deserving of a high quality of life and a certain standard of care. And it's not always easy to reach out and advocate for yourself, but if anybody's out there that's like in that situation listening, please make some phone calls or reach out to us and let us help you hook you up with some people that can help because nobody should be stuck like that because it's just today's age, it's 21st century. No, we have the tools, we have the technology. Everybody should be taken care of. Everybody should have the tools and the knowledge to
We have the
be
army,
as independent as possible.
and we have the
When you
army.
have the yeah, when we have the right tools, your life can really change. You'd be really surprised about how you feel personally, your confidence, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
think we do fight for our independence so much, and then so that's why it's hard for us to ask for help because we feel like, oh, we just want to do it by ourselves. But I think finding that line is so important to know when you should be striving and doing it yourself and when you're tired and it's better for you and your body to ask for help then that's necessary. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
have a
that's
little
a
bit
good
of the issue of not asking for help, and one of the reasons why I've become so independent. But it's sort of a problem sometimes. I do need to
But
get
we pay
better.
the price. Yeah, we pay the price in the long run, and maybe one too many falls from back in the day, and that's starting to take effect now. And it's like, whew, maybe I shouldn't have should have asked for more help. And you know, I mean, I know I talk about my age in the sense that it's been a long struggle, and now I don't care if someone opens the door. I don't care if someone picks up a piece of paper and do all this stuff. I know that I did it one time for many years and got through it. Talking about spinal cord injury awareness. When you
Yeah.
first got hurt, was it all about walking for you? Was it all about life is not going to be complete like many of us thought? Like, well, if I'm not walking, then what's really the point, right?
Yeah, definitely. I honestly felt like I wasn't a person without my legs, and um, but it was weird because I did have people telling me like, "Oh, I saw you walking in my dream. Oh, don't worry, you're gonna be walking for my wedding," and stuff like that. And I would get frustrated because I would be like, "We don't know the future." So I was very still skeptical because the doctors were very unsure. So I didn't have my hopes up, but I did feel like it was important to me. I did feel like I wasn't going to be a person or ever be happy again without the use of my legs.
And when did that change for you? When
When
you
I started going to Triumph, yeah, when I got involved in the community, when I saw all these great warrior, strong people fighting every single day, it made me want to fight too. And I didn't realize how many times those 2 years I kept on saying I can't do this, I can't do this, and it's like I can do it, and
Uh,
they showed me that. And so I started being able to do little things around the house, like even wash the dishes and cook things that I completely dismissed that wasn't going to be possible for me anymore. And little things like that slowly gained my confidence again. And then I realized like walking's overrated. I got this.
Heck yeah.
that's awesome. Uh,
definitely overrated. And I know many people. It's funny that they often say, "I
so,
hate when I get stared at." And my biggest thing is, I have two sayings for that. one, don't you stare at other people too anyway? Even if
That's
they're
true.
not, just we're curious human beings, and we often stare at people that just like, oh my gosh, look at that guy's shorts or shoes, and look at that dude with his pants all hiked up and high waters or whatever it may be. We stare. We're just, and I feel, and I say this often, and I'm so glad that our founder for Child often uses, the rock star status. I mean, I always just think of myself as a rock star. I'm being stared at because I'm a rock star.
Yeah,
And
it's funny every time I catch someone like staring at me, especially like I roll everywhere. So down the road, I get a lot of, like looky loos off to the side. And I just tell myself, like, damn, I must be looking good today. Catch the attention of like 4 or 5 different cars, like all in a row, like something must be up.
That's
And,
what pushed me to start getting ready too. Yeah, this like that. Like, if you're gonna look at me, I'm gonna make sure I feel good, And also, I realized that I was making stuff up in my head. Like, they're looking at me because I'm stupid, I'm weak, I'm all this stuff. But it's like, who knows? They could be looking at me because they're like, wow, look at that girl pushing across the street right now. When I was complaining about my spilt water or whatever it is, something so little.
yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah, I
And,
think
there's
most of
like
the time when people are
really
looking, they're more looking in like, wow, look at like, they're it's not still good. They're still almost like, but they're like proud of you almost, like, which is whatever, it is what it is. It's just people's perspective. It's not like we're just proud. We're just out doing our life, living lives. It's just doing normal everyday stuff. But that's, I think, some of the people just look like, oh wow, look at that person in the wheelchair. But like, it's not like a bad thing. I don't think people. I don't know. I just think of it as like, hey, they're cool. They're proud of me. They're happy. I'm a rock star, like Bobby says. Like, so.
hey, we get front row parking. Sometimes we
Right.
get the cut in line. We get served first or whatever it may be. Just treat the status like it is. You know what? It's not saying that you're a handicap or that we're crippled. It's just, you know what? It's a lot easier if you just get to me first and let's go. It's a lot safer sometimes. Like, why do I get front row parking? It is safer. If I go behind a car, they're not going to see me. And now with these electric cars, I'm like, whoa, who's got a car on these days?
I'm very much in Bobby's boat. Like I like catch people staring at me, but it's only because I'm staring back at them, right? So I'm like, it's a little bit of two-way street. But the thing is, I smile at everyone. If I lock eyes, like I'll give you a smile. It doesn't matter if you're a perfect stranger. I mean, like I'm gonna share one with you. And if they keep kind of giving me like a cold blank stare, like they can't like identify me as a person, like smile back or meet my eyes or something, or they like quickly turn away, like, oh damn, I got caught. That's when it's like a little bothersome. It's like I don't mind if you're looking at me, just like look at me like a human, because sometimes you do get that like blank look, like what's this person doing? Or, like one of the ones that always gets me is parents. They like grab their kids and yank them out of my way.
Yeah.
And they roll it like cruising slow. Like I'm always very mindful. Just like, damn it, Johnny, get out of the way, and like yank the back of his hoodie or whatever. And I'm like, it's okay. I'm not gonna run your kid over.
It's a
Yeah.
good teaching moment for the person. And
Yeah.
in our comment, somebody wrote that they're C2 through 4 incomplete tetraplegic, and recovering was hard, trying to choose between either focusing on walking or daily life. And I think it's actually, you can do both. It's not with that. I don't think we're preaching to say, don't worry about the walking because you're going to have a great life just living in a chair. One thing about walking is it's going to give you a lot of strength. I mean, I know in my recovery, when they put me in those braces or in the standing frame, I got stronger faster.
Yeah.
And I knew it wasn't going to be this long-term goal, but I was like, wow, by just trying to hold my balance, I'm getting stronger. And so I never encourage somebody to not try that and not focus on that. Just don't make it a life goal. Some people make it a 5-day a week. I'm not doing anything until I walk again. So definitely, make sure you're doing that to get, stronger, but also make sure that you can focus on your daily life just as easily.
Yeah,
So
one thing that Walter actually taught me is like, yeah, I'm going to wake up in the morning and I'm going to say, wake up, legs. Of course I want to walk, but if I can't, I need to still learn how to live my life today, how to make myself happy, how to
Right.
keep on going.
Um, So I'm going to use this as a little bit of a transition and show one of the first flyers I bought, which was that Iceberg Flyer that I know you guys have seen. And it basically just says, the inability to walk is what people see. But below the level is all the other stuff we deal with daily. Spasms, pressure sores, loss of sexual function, loss of bladder and bowel function, inability to feel hot and cold or sharp and dull, nerve pain, breathing capacity, psychological battles, the loss of independence and all that. So those are like a lot of the ones that are listed on this little flyer here. So I don't know, a lot of people don't see those things because like it shows, they're under the surface. Those are the things that we deal with in our daily lives, but people don't see on the outside. So you guys want to maybe talk about some of those other maybe some of the other issues? Like for me, bowel and bladder obviously is or I think probably for everybody is the biggest issue that, we all deal with in daily life that people don't realize is as much of a pain in the ass as it is. But
Bladder, bowel, and spasms.
Spasms is those are the ones.
For me, it's nerve pain. I don't have spasms as bad, but my nerve pain is constant. And that was really hard for me in the beginning, too, because it was just constant pain that I had to learn how to live with. But I learned that living is what makes it better. When I'm laying in bed, I feel the pain 100 times more than when I'm out, when I'm exercising, when I'm living my life. And that's a fact.
That's the truest thing for me, too. I've started to deal with regular chronic pain over the last decade. I think just from wear and tear, being paralyzed so long and being a little harder on my body than I probably should be at times. But, when I'm sitting at home by myself, I can't escape it. And, it'll bring me down and it'll make me depressed and, give me a really hard time. And, but the minute I call my buddy, I'm like, hey, can we meet at the park? Can we, go to your house and hang for a couple hours and just talk and get out of my space and, just not focus on it, do something constructive, do something to, keep my hands and my brain occupied. It really does pull me out of it. I don't do painkillers. I've never really done anything for pain management outside marijuana. But that I found for me is the best pain treatment I can get is either hop into a pool, get in some water, or just distract myself with some loved ones or some things that I love to do.
Yeah, I think that you brought up, pain medication, and I think that's something that gets a lot of newly injured people in the beginning, because the doctors pump you full of it, and it's the only thing that kind of numbs you. And getting off of it is you have to be dedicated to getting off of it in order to detox your body from it. But I've talked to a lot of people, and I personally have went through it these last couple of months of detoxing off my medicine, and I have to say that it is better. You do feel better. The medicine causes different things. For me, it takes my taste buds away, and it just makes me feel more nauseous. And I talk to a lot of people, and they say that they think it's better in the long run without it.
And that being said, narcos, pain pills, things like that, they save people's lives every day, by helping, allowing them to take the edge off and make it through their day. And so, it's not a bad thing. It's just not the right thing for everybody.
Right.
And you're very right in that, especially if you're not in a good rehab facility, it's something that they can give you a lot of at the beginning to, help with your recovery and help with that discomfort. But, it's not always the best thing for you.
And learning your limitations.
There's also lots of other treatments for neuropathy and nerve pain outside, narcos and stuff, gabapentin, baclofen, a range of other, drugs that can help.
And there's also a lot of natural stuff too, acupuncture and certain herbs and teas and meditation.
Aquatic therapy.
There's so many out there. What starts taking place with pain management is once that pain med is introduced into you, a part of your brain says, hey, all right, glad somebody else has this covered because this is a little bit too much for me. Bring in the crew that I need. Bring it in. And then next thing you know, it has so much that it says, fine, I'm really taking off now. And, I'm on vacation in the Bahamas and I'm not going to return until you absolutely need me. Because our minds actually have pain meds in there. It was already built in. It just isn't strong enough compared to some of the pains that are out there, nerve pain, breaking a bone pain, whatever, or even just pain of loss of being paralyzed. And so what happens is that takes off, and for it to come back from the Bahamas, it's tough. It takes a lot of work and a lot of dedication, and sometimes the body won't even function if you got all off it all entirely. So what needs to happen is you might next thing you know, you're on pain meds the rest of your life, but just on a real low dose, just because the body cannot function actually without it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I experienced that. They had me on a pain patch and they had me on the highest dose rate from the beginning, and it just messed my body up so much. So I tried to get off of it, and my body like went into almost shock, like where I was like throwing up. I wasn't okay, and so they had to like lower it by little, every 3 months, lower it again, which took time, but overall grateful for it. I tried something a little bit more natural, as in lidocaine injections in my back instead, and like getting a massage therapy and just like trying different things, which in the first month, let me tell you, I wanted my pain patch. It's hard, to make that dedication, but I think when you stick to it, you do see a difference. And I'm not totally off of my medication. As for gabapentin, I do need it for my nerves, so I accept that. I tried the lowest dose, I went down, and I figured out what I need to make me get through the day, and that's necessary sometimes.
Absolutely. It's like getting to the end of the day. Like sometimes we all need a little help, and like it's okay to find that in some way, shape, or form. What Bobby said is the important thing, though. It's just like anything in life. Like moderation is key. For functioning normally in all aspects of life. That's true for pain management too. Like it can't be taken too much to where you're off on vacation. It's like you gotta find that balance. And it's just like everybody and everything. Like you have to find that balance that works for them and allows them to be most functional, most happy.
And I think the best thing that we can say out there is keep yourself busy.
Yeah.
Keep your mind active. Obviously, it's a lot less when I'm playing sports, working, doing something very productive, whatever it may be. Obviously, that is your best source of pain meds. And when you stop, you're like, ooh, now I know where the pain is. Unfortunately, I think we lost Don, but hopefully we'll get him back here.
Oh,
But what I wanted to say is that, being active, and I think that's going to be the biggest thing you can use for pain management. And some people have a hard time with, what do I do to keep myself active? I don't want to go back to school, or I don't want to play sports. I mean, the hobbies out there are endless. Do you need to learn a new language? I keep telling myself for years that I want to learn Spanish. I've been busy with a lot of other things. There's so many things out there that if you really look at it, you can find something to keep your mind active all day long.
Yeah, I just went through this because of the whole COVID thing. I found myself feeling like I was going crazy, and I looked online for indoor hobbies, and I found like a bunch of different things that I could do. And one thing that caught my eye was like these miniature doll houses. So I ordered one, and I've been putting it together, and it's just something to keep my mind busy, something to keep my creative juices flowing, something for me afterwards I can be like, oh, look at my little chair, and I can still watch TV and do whatever I need to do, but it's just something to keep my mind busy, and that goes for like even coloring, any little tiny thing. Honestly, like you said, the options are endless out there.
Yeah, and it could be playing video games. It could be, going to find best hiking spots, or trail walks where you can, that are accessible that you can do in your chair, or getting a small part-time job if that's, working. I mean, I know places like Home Depot and Walmart and,
I think Target.
Like what's that?
I think Target is one that hires disability. I've heard from a couple people.
And just keeping yourself active, whatever it may be, not. And don't sell yourself short saying, I don't want to just be a greeter at Walmart. It's like, no, you're actually going to do things at Walmart instead of that's for somebody else to do that.
I think
set yourself up high.
I was gonna say, I think the biggest thing is just keeping your mind occupied. If it is, working, whatever it may be, just That's what I know. Dean McCabe, he's said that like to me early on and things, and like I hear him tell all the time when we're at support groups is just staying busy. That's how he deals with his pain and stuff. And I've felt the same way. I do the same thing. Like if I'm sitting too long, but like you were saying, just find a hobby, find something that you can keep your mind occupied. Play poker, something fun.
Be open-minded.
Right.
Yeah, because
anything.
I think that when you're injured, you look at all these things and like, oh, I don't like this. This bores me. I'm not interested in this, without really giving it a try and like seeing if you'd be good at it or if it would be something that you'd like. So be open-minded.
And I think that's, key for not only spinal cord, for everybody in life. And I've been trying to get my dad to do this, but be open-minded, There's so many things out there, like websites called Meetup. I think probably Facebook has something. But you can get yourself involved. Get yourself involved with nonprofit. Get yourself involved with, Rotary Club. Something within your city. Go pick
whatever
up
you're interested in. I found an investment group on Meetup. It's just like people who like to talk about trading,
and I do something that nobody is disabled. And there's people who are disabled that do it, but I do Toastmasters, and I belong to a Toastmasters club. I've been president twice. My club is very active, and I put a lot on my shoulders to run the club with my fellow help. That I'm just like, well, after work I'm doing that, and if I'm not doing that, I'm helping Triumph Foundation. And if I'm not helping Triumph Foundation, I'm helping Shawn. If I'm not helping Shawn, I'm trying to be a husband and not get yelled at, and do the duty she asked me to do, and get into a hobby of cooking and learning to smoke and barbecue and the things that I can as a C5-6 quadriplegic. And I know one of my great friends, Mark Willits, who lives in Arizona. He's a C1-2 ventilator quad. He actually gets on Twitter and helps out campaign funds for a representative in his state that he wants to win, that he believes in so much. And so he verifies what everybody else says to make sure it's right. So he verifies everything that is said towards it, against his candidate that he is supporting.
One of my favorite things to do to like help keep my mind in a positive space and help keep myself busy and in healthy ways, I like to write. Like, I'll write stories, I'll like write, but just journal. Just take some time, like an hour, in the day to write out my thoughts. And like a lot of times, like it lets me address things that maybe I'm not even really able to like address myself head on. Like if I am feeling a lot of pain, if I know a certain kind of way and stuff, just as a different outlet for me to like express it and get it out and get it down. Let me read it back and then kind of like, like identify with it, because my brain, I like to play tricks on myself sometimes and get down on myself. And, like writing will really help me do that. And, I'm a big proponent of education. Doesn't matter if you're educated, if, if education was never your thing, give it a try. Like this spinal cord injury thing could throw us for a loop. And, sometimes it can just set us down a different path, one that maybe we didn't even know we were ever going to be on, but there's incredible opportunity for scholarships, for, tuition, coverage, for, all the elements you need to go to school. There's, at least here in California, the Department of Rehab, I know available in other states, that will get you in school, get you in a classroom, get you, with other people. Like school is always my favorite thing because I love the classroom environment. I love learning, but I love, all the clubs. I love all the groups. I love just being there, socializing with people and stuff, and getting out, like learning. I'm working on my brain, like my body is always a hard one to exercise. So I decided, hey, I'm going to exercise my brain the best I can. So, like if you do have a job that you want to do, but you're not qualified for it, get started. It's never too late, and it's never too early to start either, especially when there's COVID stuff.
And it's a great way to meet other people. And I think the same way you did, Brianna, you got into acting and modeling. And, right when I was getting to know you, next thing you know, you were so busy, I couldn't get to know you even more. It's just like, yeah, I'm acting, I'm modeling, and I can't come to the group today because I'm so busy. And I mean, actually, I'd rather not see you because you're so busy.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that took off for you as well.
Yeah, because I realized it all the time, that honestly, if this didn't happen, who knows if I would have ever found that passion of acting? You know, who knows if I would have ever given it a try? You know, and it's something that I love to do, and it's something that I'm growing at constantly. And I am a big advocate on growing your brain too. I think that's so important, you know, and I think it's so cool that you can do that. And nowadays, there's so many classes on so many different things, you know, and just always pushing your limits, always believing more for yourself, you know, is so important. And it takes time, but it does happen, you know. It for a lot of days I spent telling God, like, why me? Why would you put me in this position? And now I spend so many days thanking him for putting me in this position, thanking him for letting me meet the people that I get to meet, you know. And um, that doesn't happen from me laying down and doing nothing, from me not working on myself, you know. It doesn't mean that I didn't have hard days, because I had many. It was just that I pushed myself through those hard days. I acknowledged that I had to keep on going.
And Brianna, that's such a beautiful thing that you just said. In that, life is a really strange, mysterious ride that we're all on, and we don't know where we're headed. But sometimes things, as hard or as crazy and as ugly as they can be on the surface, can sometimes be a blessing. And like help, push your life in a direction or a way that you never even thought possible, which like could be really incredible and special too. And just to know that like your life is still able to go in incredible and special ways. Like I feel like
Yeah,
so
I think
often,
sometimes life gives you what you need and not what you want. You know, and as humans, we always want all this stuff, but sometimes life says, slow down, you know, that's not
yep,
meant for you right now.
yep. And you
That's
just
well
said it.
put.
That's not meant for you right now. It doesn't mean it's not meant for you. And like if there's a little bump in the road, it's okay. Once you get over that bump, you pick things up and try them again. That's what it's all about.
In a book, it's called Ready Player One, and there's
Yeah.
a yeah, it's a great book, and he's about to come out with the second. But there's a quote in that book is for him to his password was nobody in this world ever gets what they want. Nobody in the world ever gets what they want, and that is beautiful.
That's good. Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
it's like yeah, because we're always going to strive. And I don't want to be the downer, but obviously there's some people who are like, okay, wow, a little bit too much hip hop array. There's going to be bad days, guys.
Totally.
Still have them, and
I
sometimes,
morning today. Like
yeah,
it.
and I don't want to be like, oh yeah, you just get out there and do it. Nothing's impossible. Well, there are bad days, and there's
Oh
days
yeah.
that you're going to need to take a day off, and I call Sunday my church day. Some football, some family, a chill to just think about my week and settle down and let my body heal. And because if I go on too much, it's going to break down, and I get frustrated, and I hate when I can't do something. I hate that one day my skin looks funny. I hate one day that my suprapubic is giving me dysreflexia. I think Shawn had one on Friday and I had one
Yep.
on Thursday, and it was just sweating all day going, you know what, come on, I don't need this after this long, but you're going to have them. And, you just remember it's okay to have those bad days. Let them, take care of them. Don't ignore them, and get help and move on. All of those things you need to do. There's still bad days. There's not, and sometimes out of a month, there's probably 10 to 15 bad days and 10 to 15 great days, and it's going to vary, and it's going to be a teeter-totter, and it's going to be a fight. But don't let that beat you.
And like
Well
I
said.
always, this is my like what I do. This is my mantra. Is like I build a support system. Like I design an algorithm for like my support. Like my struggles, and that like I am fortunate. I'm so 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 lucky and fortunate to have lots of people around me in my life that like are friends and family that love me, and I can talk to and reach out to at any point in time, which is really like a lifesaver, and it's really amazing, and I'll never take that for granted. But I also had to learn that it's okay to be sad. Like I would get sad, and then I would get down on myself for being sad. And it would just be like this weird thing. It would just be worse, and it would make me feel worse. Like it's okay to have a sad day. Have your sad day where you don't talk to anybody, where it's okay to feel sorry for yourself. It's okay to wallow a little bit, but get yourself some ice cream, treat yourself to things that make you feel good, and help yourself while you're in the midst of that sadness, because it's so easy to be sad and then to not take care of yourself and to put yourself down in that in that state, in that situation, just because it's so easy to feel that way. And that is what I was so good at. I'm a professional at that, and it took me a long time to learn. And it was basically people telling me like, hey bro, like you you get down, and then you get down on yourself, and it makes it worse. And it wasn't until someone told me that I was able to kind of realize that, damn, like you're right, and I was able to at the very least like recognize when I'm in that mode and when I'm starting to, like be down on myself a little bit. And then I've been able to learn the course correct. And I don't always, and I still fail. It's not always an easy thing, but, um, build a system. And it's not going to be overnight, but work on mechanisms, work on systems and tools you can put around yourself to help with the bad days, because that's when you need to support yourself the most and be supported.
Yeah, I agree so much. I realize that your mindset is like your bed, in a sense that you have to make it up every single day. You have to
That's a
choose
good
what you're
point.
going to do every single day, and it's not easy to do, because you can say, oh, I'm going to be positive and happy. And then the next moment something happens and life is chaotic, and you feel all these emotions. And then because you feel all these emotions and you said you weren't going to feel them, then that makes you weak. You're stupid. Why can't you just get it together? Now all this stuff in your mind is all these negative thoughts are eating you alive, and then we don't realize that our mindset is our worst enemy. It's the one creating all these things, and it's something that I have to fight with all the time too. I suffered with depression before my injury. So now during it, it's hard to not let it go for days. I have to battle it constantly. So those days now that I get into a moment where I need to just let out my emotions, and then I need to figure out my next strategy on how I can keep on moving forward, or even recognizing things that trigger me to make me go into the depression, I feel so proud of myself afterwards, because before that would have lasted me days of sadness. I could have been sad about that issue for days, and like the picture that Shawn showed, like all this stuff is happening to us. So it's just like thing after thing that you can complain about. Of course it sucks. You have to make the decision that, yeah, these things suck, but I need to find something to make me happy right now.
Yep. And that's it. Finding something that makes you happy. And like put on some music. Sometimes I tell myself like wear a flippin' smile until you're not faking it anymore. And that's really if I only gotta go out and be around people. But
That's
it's
good.
just what you said, Brianna, finding that stuff that makes you happy and, bringing it into your life.
Because able-bodied or paralyzed, it doesn't matter. We're all going to have it. We just need to find out what's going to get us through it, and treat yourself, and recognize it, and try to move on. You
And
know,
I just wanted to shout out real quick, DJ in the
Yeah.
chat.
you
Um,
me too, man. I was just ready to
September 7th, man.
DJ.
You're right at the beginning of it, bro. And
When you're when DJ's ready, man, contact Shawn. We'd love to have you on the channel when you're ready, so we can ask someone like you, DJ, that's newly injured. And one thing I was going to say, and this goes out to DJ and everybody in the chat, and some that we were talking about getting through, is set goals for yourself. Set those long-term goals, and then the best thing you can do for yourself at the very beginning is set like 10 small little goals. Accomplish those,
Yeah.
because we don't recognize the change that we go through. People, who don't see us all the time will say, "Hey, uh, you've changed and you've gotten stronger," and you're like, "I have." Yeah, because we don't see it within ourselves. It takes somebody to see it. So set those little goals, so when you check it off, you're like, wow, I'm getting better, I'm getting stronger. Now I can sit in my chair for 4 hours a day. Now I can get my dinner all ready all by myself. Now I can get into bed. Now I can get my shoes on. do all those little goals. And if you know, at the beginning for me, it was like taking a Coke can and how am I going to even get a soda up to my mouth? And it was like shaking. And then it was like, okay, now that I can do that, now how can I do it with one hand? Now how can I open it? And now how am I going to drink it when it's open and not spill it all over myself? So battle those little goals. And then next thing you know, you accomplished a big goal that, hey, I can go to the refrigerator, get a soda, and then after 21, got a beer and open it up all by myself without asking, you know, for help.
Yeah. And, you know, just for DJ out there and any other newly injured people, just so y'all know, like those first couple months, man, those first 6 months of your injury, just focus on healing, you know, focus on healing your body and taking care of yourself, take care of your mind, you know, like those goals and stuff, like your PT is going to be working you, hopefully, you know, if you're in a good place and
Yeah.
you'll be setting those goals, but also it's like, there's plenty of time for that, you know, like a couple weeks out, your body is still in such shock and you're still going through such significant trauma, you know, those first few months, you're really just kind of bouncing back from the trauma. And then, you know, you start to work on bouncing back from, you know, the trauma again
Yeah.
in a different way, you know, but it's
Yeah.
working on independence and, you know, it's like getting back into your home and it's learning how to be more mobile and, you know, get back to regular life. And so just like, be aware, you know, any DJ and any other newly injured people out there, like, just focus on healing, focus on, you know, your brain and, you know, staying happy and healthy as, you know, as best you can in this situation because it's a trip
Yeah, that's
and
the
there's
best thing
plenty
you can
of
do in the
time to work
beginning.
on different goals and, you know, work on that other stuff.
I relate being, newly injured, still me out for years, as like a little kid. When we were little, we had to learn how to walk and talk and use the bathroom and eat by ourselves. We had to learn all these things. We had to give ourselves time. The only difference is that we didn't have our negative mindset telling us that we're failing at something or we need to hurry up and do something and all these things. So even at 4 years, I tell myself, like, look, you're only 4 years into this. Give yourself time. And trust me, in the beginning, that was really hard for me to accept because all the older people would be like, oh, you're still a baby. And I'd be like, oh my goodness, like, how long do I have to go through this? I feel like I've been going through this forever now, but it takes time and it does get better.
Yeah, it takes time. And that's the thing, you know, patience is not easily come by, especially when you're like trying to get your life back. You know, it's like, damn it, I want it back now, you know, I want to be back to where I was. But, you know, unfortunately, it's an essential skill for, you know, quad or para, especially at the beginning, because, you know, as you learn to become more independent and regain those skills, you know, it's just going to be time to learn. And, you know, you spend your whole life learning, you know, kind of without thinking about it. But now you gotta, you know, take a few steps back and start fresh and learn again. And, you know, nothing, you know, learned like worth learning, you know, comes easily. Generally, that's like a rule of thumb in life. And, you know, it's just very easy to get frustrated with little stuff. You know, like one of the things on that iceberg like slide that Shawn put up is, you know, like loss of independence, like even being able to like brush your own teeth. Just the little things, you know, can be very hard and very frustrating because it's like, I'm working so hard to just like Bobby said, pick up a can, you know, but it's just hard at the start, you know. You'll like a couple years if you're looking back, you'll swoop into a cooler one-handed, grab a beer out of there, you know, crack it open with your teeth and start, you know, drinking it. And you'll think back like, damn, did it ever, you know, take me like two hands and that long to, you know, get a can of soda or whatever. So just understand that. And, you know, one thing that we did talk about too a lot of times with recovery, which I always like to mention, is plateauing. You know, and this is down the road, but you know, like if you're in good rehab, good PT, you're exercising, you're doing your thing, and in a year, you know, you made a lot of progress, but then a year and 6 months, you're kind of still at that point. You know, like a lot of us plateau. A lot of us get to a point where we get to a certain state, and it's hard to get stronger beyond that. And it doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means it might take longer to get there. So I'm just kind of trying to give a little like rundown and preface of like things that can get into our heads early on, you know, with our recovery and the length of time and the difficulty of it. But just know that it takes a long time for everybody. It's a slow process and it's a hard process for everybody. But
Yeah,
there's
we're
tons of
learning in
support.
slow motion.
and that's it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're moving in slow motion, like I see my friend go like take a leak, back behind his car. I'm like scrambling to find a bathroom, take 10 minutes to go catheterize and stuff. Little things like that still get to me. But, like I've gotten a lot better with my patients over the years.
Oh, I mean, I was telling my wife the other day, you know, I get that OCD a lot. I used to have a way I love to take off my shoes. I used to have a way I made my bed, the way my clothes had to be folded. And she was like, "How bad do you really have OCD?" And I said, "See those 3 wrinkles in the bed right now, the top sheet? It's driving me insane. It's driving, and I can't reach it, but it drives me insane. When I take off my shoes and they fall on the floor, no, that's not the way I want them. I want them up against the wall, pointing up with the tongue out and the lace is already undone. It was just something I had, and those little things over time uh, really helped me with a lot of my patients I have today. Like I'm compared to what screams in my head, compared to what I see around me, and want it to be the way I want it, but I know I can't. And sometimes when my wife was saying with this COVID, like, how are you getting through this? It's like because I already know what it's like to not have a choice. I don't have a choice to take a pill and say I'm going to walk one day, and I don't have a choice that to get triceps. I just don't have a choice. I have a choice to work on those things, and I think when you know the difference, you can get through a lot and accomplish a lot of things. That it's about what you put into it and the work that you accomplish around you. That there are no choices in life. There's only doers in life.
That's well put, Bobby. I like that actually. That's good.
My favorite quote from Yoda: "Do or do not. There is no
Do or
try."
do.
It's easy to focus on the
Very good.
things you can't do. You could complain about the things you can't do all day, but what I really make an effort to do is focus on the things I can do, and be grateful for the little things that I have, like my voice and my eyesight, my hearing. Other people lost that today. And so
It's true.
why don't I say like, oh, look at all the things I saw today, or look at all the things I grabbed today, or look at all the things I touched today. Instead, I'm focused on all the things I didn't do and all the things I couldn't do. And that really changes your mindset a lot.
And
That's a
one thing for me that like happened to me very early on in my injury is when I was young, and I don't think I fully understood it, but like I would get discouraged very easily, and that like if I failed at doing something, I wouldn't want to do it again. I'd be like, no, I couldn't do it. It means I can't do it. And that unfortunately, like I gave up some opportunities and stuff, and gave up probably doing some cool things that would have been awesome, had I stuck with it. And that followed me a long time through my life until, I mean, gosh, I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago, but did the hand cycling. Like I did hand cycling when I was younger, but I had the bike and everything, but I sucked at it. Like I went out 2 or 3 times, couldn't keep up with my brother and sister, and said, "I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore." But now it's like, damn it! Like I love hand cycling, and I wish that I had like stuck with it all those years. I'd probably be a flipping, champ by now if I had not let myself get discouraged and like just get afraid of even trying. Like if you fail once, doesn't mean that you can't do it. If like someone's doing it easier than you, doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing it. It just means that you gotta change it up, try again, try it a different way. Like I've done more things in the last 4 or 5 years, from jet skiing to scuba diving to rock claw climbing, climbing rock wall, to doing things that like in my head are like impossible as a quadriplegic. And like I'd like look at out on the surface, someone would tell me like, "Hey, you want to try this?" I'm like, nope, there's no way I could do that. But thankfully, I was able to like see some other quads and some other cool people doing this kind of stuff, and get that like discouragement out of my head. Like, hey, like there is no limits. Like everything is possible if you are willing to like work for it, and you have that strength of will, and you can find people to help you do it and stuff, and be willing to ask for support, and like not be embarrassed or discouraged that you got to do something different, or with maybe a little extra assistance, rather than someone who's able-bodied. And a lot of those things just slowed me down for a long time, because I mean everybody gets embarrassed, and vanity and stuff, it's just hard to overcome for anybody. But when I was able to get over that hump in my head, it opened the world to me. And
Yeah,
when
I
I
was the
already
same way
told,
too, man.
you know, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's the same, man. I was the same way. Like in the beginning, I didn't want to try a lot of things. Like even for one big thing for me was the water skiing. Like for years, Andrew, other people would tell me to come out to water skiing and land meet sea. It's like, yeah, no, I don't know about that. It just seems like it doesn't really seem something I could do. And then finally, Andrew talked me into it. Triumph, he gave me a Triumph sponsorship for the day, and I went. And I literally fell in love. Like I was so mad I haven't done it in the years past. Like I'm really bummed we missed out this year because of COVID and they couldn't do it and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I literally look forward to it every year. It's like one of the biggest, like the funnest things I do every year. And I'm really mad. I missed it for like 4 or 5 years. I probably could have done it before at least. But I just was too afraid to try it. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
try things.
I hear that all the time in the community about just like that people do more with their injury than without it, and they love themselves more. They're learning more,
That's crazy,
and I
right?
think that's so cool. Yeah, it's so cool because then we're looking. Some people, well, especially in the beginning, it's like, oh, I don't want to do that. Like rock climbing, I don't want to do that, especially not differently. I can't even climb the rock right. Why am I going to do it?
Yeah.
But then, it's like people who can climb the rock right aren't even climbing it. So if I can climb it differently and do it like I should, and it makes you feel amazing inside when you realize that you can do things, because you block out so many things in your head, of things that you can't do. So when you do it, it's like an adrenaline rush. You feel alive again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
I
awesome.
mean, for me as an old geezer, trying all of those things and experiencing the water skiing, the snow skiing, the hand cycling, the rock climbing, you name it. Now it's so enjoyable to go out there and watch somebody new, like if Peter in our chat or DJ or Morgan, man, when they go out there and they try it for the first time, that is the thrill of my life now. My thrill of my life is running support groups and doing peer counseling for those who just got hurt. I mean, as we're doing this podcast or this YouTube channel or streaming today in this hour, somebody got hurt as a spinal cord injury. And, it's just amazing that we can change somebody's lives just by saying one thing or watching somebody just grow. And to see you come a long way in such a short amount of time is just, it just makes the hair on my arm stand up and gives me so much joy to see that people are learning by example of what we do. Because you'll have to post those somehow, Shawn, and let people grab, yeah, exactly, the facts about spinal cord injury. I mean, that is huge. And knowing that there is a lot of us out there, and we are an army, and we don't want one person left behind, on this battle zone that we have to live in. And if we can, change and help somebody along. I'm not saying I want to change somebody's life. I just want somebody's life to be different and better than what they think when it first happens to them.
Yeah, that really changed my life a lot, is when I realized girls are going to keep getting hurt, and I didn't, because I didn't have it at the beginning of my injury, somebody telling me these things, and it really did make a difference when I heard them. For me to be able to roll into their life and tell them these things and it make a difference at the beginning, it makes me so excited. Like, it makes me so happy to be able to be there for them and show them how to get through this, because I know how hard the beginning is.
Really a testament to like your strength and your beauty that you're able to do that and share that with other women out there, because you guys are the minority of the spinal cord injury community. I think it's like only 20% of
20% on that graphic. Yeah.
So the fact that you've been able to overcome your trauma in such an amazing, strong, and positive way, and then be that shining example for other women out there going through the same stuff it's really incredible. It's like really, really, really amazing thing.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. It honestly keeps me going. I started a women's group every second and fourth Monday. And what started me, before we would do it in person, and what really started me is because I realized there was a big population of guys. and that the younger girls weren't really wanting to stay in the groups with all the guys. You know, they kept on going home and being like, peace, I'm out of here. You know, I'm not going to go back to that room with all these guys there. And it's a confidence thing, of course, as well. And so for me to be able
But
to
there's
like
some
start
things
grabbing them.
talk about, like, so like women can't always talk about, 80% of the guys in the room, sometimes the ladies need ladies to talk to.
So I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
it
do a
really does
quick.
make a difference.
I'm going to do a quick shout out right now. One of the other reasons why I wanted to have Brianna on today is because in about a month or so, we're still figuring out a date. I'm going to do a women's takeover. You're not going to see me, Tom, or Bobby on here. Brianna's going to run the show and just have a bunch of other girls on here for you and do just a full girls show. So yeah, she's going to be our host in about a month here. And she does a
I am
bunch of
so
stuff for
excited.
women, girls, and all that stuff. And if you are a girl in a chair and you need some support, reach out to her. Her Instagram is on the thing. Brianna rolls on.
There's
And she.
also a local other women's support group that Michelle puts on through Triumph. And also for like wives and girlfriends of individuals with SCI. I know that Kirsten and like some of our ladies in that part of the Triumph community do that as well. So anybody listening, any of that sounds like it's might be interested to you.
And we
Like,
also have one at Rancho for women with a psychologist, or not a psychologist, but a social worker that runs the support group as well as a peer mentor. So what's nice about it is that you can ask the social worker for some of that advice. So there's a lot of stuff out there for women. So definitely reach out to Brianna.rolls.on, and you can definitely get with this COVID stuff, get in touch with her and join one of these groups. And that goes for anybody out there that wants to join a support group with COVID right now, is that you can. You can join. We have one on Tuesday. We have one on Wednesday. We have one on Thursday. We have one on Friday morning. So there's so many out there, and we're not just keeping it to Southern California where we're from. We're opening it up to everyone. And so if you're needing support, depending on your time, definitely reach out to us, and we'll get you that link so you can join us. I mean, now with COVID going on, I have friends from Portugal and England because of my workout crew that I joined in the morning, and now I got like all these new friends from Canada as well, and we're working out, and it's because of the technology that's out there and COVID. I never thought I'd be working out with anybody across the world, but now I do. And Adapt to Perform, which is a great YouTube channel to work out to.
Yep.
Definitely
Cool.
check him out. And he has a live video just like this, and at 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Definitely something else to get involved with. And there's so many people to reach out. If you think your space is limited, it's not.
Definitely.
did we want to like run through some questions real quick?
I just real quick for Brianna, we were asking what your level was from somebody that missed the beginning, did not miss the.
Yeah, I'm a T12 through L5 para. I was shot 4 years ago, and the bullet hit my spine and got lodged into it, and they weren't able to take it out. So I still have the bullet in my spine.
Wow.
Yeah, well, that is.
And I know Peter was asking. I think it was Peter that asked about how does the quad water ski.
Oh, it's Morgan.
Morgan, yeah. More, the best way I can explain is a smaller size surfboard with a cage that we sit into, and we put our feet over the cage and strap our feet down. And then depending on your level, the rope is connected to the water ski, or you can hold on to the rope. So for myself, Shawn, and Tom, we have that rope connected to the ski. And in case we crash or fall down, they pull the rope, so we're not being dragged behind the boat, and it's pretty easy.
And you kind of start out like you're sitting in the water on the ski, and then they start the boat, and it pulls you up out of the water, and you end up kind of floating on top. And it's done through USARC, which is the United States Adaptive Recreation.
They're awesome.
They do it where they got like two guys or guys or gals in jet skis, like following you. So when you fall in the water, like if you do fall, like you're out of the water in 5 seconds. Like they're right there. They dive off their jet skis and come pull you out of the water and stuff. So it's like a little like I don't know, it seems scary on the surface, but it's so controlled and it's so safe and it's so impossible for anything to happen. And like they have it set up in such a way that there's really no chance that you'll even be underwater for any significant time. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah, all
Pretty
the
I
cool.
people
will,
from USARC are great, well trained. They know what they're doing. They keep you safe. So
and
And
that's
you
if
can find
anybody
some
wants to
videos.
try any of those outdoor adventure kind of stuff. There's so many programs out there. Just look up for outdoor adventures, that disabled outdoor adventures, and there's so many programs out there. Casa Clina has one. I think Greg Hospital has one. United States has one. So there's so many programs. You might have to travel. It might take some money to fundraise if you can't afford to get out somewhere, but it's possible.
Yeah, and in this one in Southern California particularly, there's grants and things available in that that make it possible if finances is an issue, and people travel from all over to come out and take advantage of land meet sea. So
they do, yeah.
if you're able to, don't let distance be a factor.
It's one of
Um,
those things that you can't imagine until you're like there and you're doing it and you're seeing all these other people do it, you know? So if anything, even if you're scared to try to do it, at least go and watch some people and then make up your mind there. That's what I've learned.
so just want to say thank you so much to our special guest today, Brianna. You're awesome and amazing,
Thank you.
and all of your insight was incredible and really great. So thank you, Bobby,
Right.
our
Hey,
awesome,
thank you
amazing
guys.
co-host, and thank you, Shawn, the puppet master behind Live to Roll, this show, and this channel, and all the other YouTube videos that you guys like to see and check out. So thank you, Shawn, for putting all this together and making it all happen, and all of you
Yes.
guys. The viewers, you're
Yeah,
awesome.
thank you
Thank you
guys
so
for
much.
watching.
Make sure you hit that like button. Give us some comments if you want to hear us do a program on anything. I think today gave us some ideas of doing one on sports, and can't wait for that all women's one. I'll be in the background listening and enjoying that show.
And
And
big shout out to DJ too.
yeah,
Special shout out.
I'd
Like
love
it's
to
not
do a
easy
show where we have some
going
new
through
blood
the
under
initial
us here.
trauma. So like we're here with you, man. Don't hesitate to reach out to any of us for
And
anything if
and
you
DJ,
do.
if you want to join one of the Triumph support groups, visit the website, and they're literally, like Bobby was saying, almost every day of the week, different times we have them, and you can jump in and talk to a bunch of us, and we're just on Zoom talking and trying to help out and stuff. So you're welcome to
And
join.
they're
So
almost all as cool as us. Like we
yeah,
got the coolest ones here, but they're all pretty cool too.
Yeah, I just talked to Andrew about doing one where where we demonstrate how we do things like transfers or reach things or cook, whatever it can be. So I'm pretty excited for that too for the new people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
for sure.
Alrighty.
All right, well, thanks everybody. We appreciate you guys
Thank you guys
watching,
for having me. Thank
and we
you.
will see you guys next week.
Yep.
Live
See you
to
guys
roll,
next week.
everybody.
Peace.